Welcome to the city of the unwritten. A city that's given so much. A city of people who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty. A city of makers, entrepreneurs, musicians, artists. A city of laughter, memories, and people who will welcome others in with a cup of heartwarming handmade coffee. A city of people, young and old, working together. People who explore, live, and grow together. But what makes this place special? Being listed year after year as one of the best places to raise a family. Maybe because we have a community recognized for its safe neighborhoods and revered for its low unemployment. A city where adventure is everywhere you look, where you can pioneer your own story. We've opened a new page to write on for the generations ahead. Welcome to Bismarck. Come write your story.
Woo! Give it up for the video. Nice. Good morning, everybody. My name's Kate Herzog. I'm going to be your MC this morning for 1 Million Cups. I'm with the Bismarck Downtowners. Happy to welcome you all to Bismarck if you're from out of town. Students, welcome to 1 Million Cups. We are here, not here. We do this every Wednesday at 9 a.m. This is a special time and location for 1 Million Cups Bismarck Mandan. So what 1 Million Cups is, we meet, as I said, every Wednesday at 9 at Dakota Stage in downtown Bismarck. We hear from entrepreneurs. They tell us their story, their challenges, and then we do a robust Q&A at the end of those presentations. So we're going to have 2 today, and then while they're talking, challenge you to think of some good questions for them during the Q&A. We'll have some mic runners out there that'll be able to run mics out. So can we change the face of our startup and entrepreneurial community in Bismarck, Mandan, and across North Dakota by getting together and sharing 1 million cups of coffee? Carl, what's our coffee count? How many, are we to a million? 62,400 cups of coffee that we've had. Give it up. That's a big one. And it's totally made up. So thanks, Carl. We want to thank our sponsors that pay for Dakota Stage every week, get us the coffee, support us at 1 Million Cups Bismarck Mandan. So thank you to them. If you see them, give them a hug, give them a high five, that they support us. Also, I want to thank the North Dakota Main Street Summit for allowing us to bring our 1 Million Cups here this morning. There are 1 Million Cups chapters across North Dakota. Raise your hand if you have a 1 Million Cups in your community. Okay, so some people. There are some 1 Million Cups chapters in North Dakota, but it's across the country. People get together every Wednesday morning and share these stories and their entrepreneurship journey. So we'll also can use the hashtag 1MCND if you want to ask questions and you're a little shy, and somebody will probably be monitoring that and ask the question for you. So we're going to get started. We have an abbreviated time here today. What we normally do is community announcements. It's something we do at our 1 Million Cups every week. So if you have a community announcement, I know there's a couple, please come up and let us know. Ashton. Give it up for Ashton.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm Ashton from Makewell, and I want to invite everyone to our first ever Maker Award show on Saturday night, and so that we can spotlight the creativity and the innovation across all industries in our region. We collected 120 public nominations, and then with the help of expert judges, we narrowed it down to just 11 awards. And my favorite part is, like you just saw, it's going to be in late night talk show format. So we have a hilarious host, a live band, and even a magic show, so you'll see Nick there. And tickets are just $15, so we hope that you come out Saturday night. It's at the Bell Mayhews here in Bismarck from 7 to 10. You can get tickets at makewell.show or our website, We Are Makewell. And then if you want to invite friends, I also have postcards, so come find me. I'm in the center here. Afterwards, we can get you hooked up. Thanks.
Thank you, Ashton. If you guys don't know about Makewell, it's our maker community group in Bismarck, Mandan. Check them out, wearemakewell.com. Do we have any other community announcements, JMO? Anybody? No? All right, we're ready to boogie. So, like I said, we have entrepreneurs that come up on stage at 1 Million Cups Bismarck, Mandan. We're going to hear from two today, both their separate journeys as well as their collaboration, I think. So, I want to welcome Keenan and Caleb from Threefold TV. They're going to tell you about their entrepreneurial journey, and then again, please think of some questions, and we'll do a Q&A after both speakers are done. So welcome, Keenan.
I think I got this. I don't think I need a handheld. Can everybody hear me? You're good. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Keenan, and I'm the co-founder of Threefold, and we are a commercial video production company here in Bismarck, and one of our mottos and mantras is storytellers from the middle of everywhere, North Dakota, and kind of taking a little ownership of that. We're not from the middle of nowhere here, we're from the middle of everywhere. So I'm the co-founder of Threefold, born and raised here in Bismarck. I graduated from NDSU, and then shortly after that started Threefold with my brother Caleb, who is not presenting this morning. He has something else going on. He might actually be here somewhere in the back, but he's got a jet right after this. One thing about working with family, and something that we've always said, is there's no lack of honesty. And there's a lot of truth to that, and we have a great partnership together, and something that we've learned as we've kind of grown and as we've worked together is finding the right partner and who you work with is really key, of making sure that you have somebody that is kind of your opposite, somebody that is opposite your strengths, and you don't work with somebody that is exactly like you, that is good at the exact same things as you are. So for any of you that are familiar with that, or thinking about a partnership, something to think about. So how we got started, we started about 5.5 years ago, and when we got going, we really saw an opportunity to create a high-end commercial video production company here in the state of North Dakota. And the reason for that was we saw a lot of high-end video work being outsourced to Minneapolis and even to Denver, and we wanted to kind of change the tone of that work being outsourced to different states, and we also saw that a lot of work was getting segmented. So a company would reach out to a creative agency would come up with an idea, they would hire a production company to film it, and then sometimes there's even a third or fourth company involved to do the editing. And we really wanted to change the tone of that and be all of the, everything about video and be the best in that industry. So that was a lot of the meaning behind the name. We wanted to be all three parts, the pre-production and the creative, be the production and the post-production. And you film things differently when you know you're going to edit them. You edit things more efficiently and a lot better when you were there on set and you saw things taking place. And it was interesting, we had an employee that recently said, I can't imagine having somebody else edit our own work. How would you learn from your mistakes? How would you understand the things that you do on set? Because when you're looking through that footage and you review it yourself, you're able to go, wow, I'm not going to do that anymore. I need to really change the way that we do that. And it's really easy to blame an editor or something like that if it doesn't turn out the way that you kind of envision. So creative agency, commercial production company, all in one. And our motto is really from the start to the final piece, we want to help companies build a really strong foundation in their video. And our motto was do one thing to the best of our ability. So my brother Caleb, who you saw on screen, he has a graphic design degree, and we built our own website. But those aren't things that we wanted to do 5-10 years from when we started, and even 5-10 years from now. So we wanted to do one thing and be the best at it, be the best in the region. And so we wanted to do video and be the best. And you'll see our famous grip truck is a former ambulance from Marmarth. Anybody from Marmarth? We have taken good care of the grip truck. So, what? So I'm going to show you guys a quick behind the scenes, give you guys a better idea of some of the projects that we work on, and this was actually at our studio here in Bismarck. So, hey guys, my name's Ian at Threefold, and this is a behind the scenes look at a set we are just about to film on, and it is the third in a series called Some Things in Life Are Hard, That's Why Banking Shouldn't Be. This one is Tractor Trouble, all about ag and all about kind of the farm culture. For this series, we really wanted to make a distinguishable, stylized look to each ad so that all of it would be recognizable. We did that by creating a vignette of a location rather than filming it on a specific location. Thanks for checking out this behind-the-scenes look at our studio shoot. So that is a little insight on what we do, and we have 5 full-time people on our team right now, and these are all very highly skilled folks, and we have a lot of experience together. And so when we work on set, we're extremely efficient, and we're fortunate to have guys that have had a lot of experience. So if you want to see some more of our commercial work, you can check out our website. These are just some kind of screenshots from some of the stuff that we work on, threefold.tv, and there'll be a slide at the end where you can write that down as well. So just kind of broadly some of the industries we serve, industrial, agricultural, some medical, some technology, and you know, kind of all in that film and video space. And that was something, you know, the storytellers from the middle of everywhere, of being from North Dakota, we really see that as one of our big competitive advantages for, you know, especially for the ag and industrial markets, because we can relate to those companies, those ag industrial companies, a lot better than somebody that grew up in New York or LA. And almost everybody on our team, or everybody on our team, has some sort of tie or connection to those industries, and really have an understanding of what they do day to day. So this is you know, where we're at. We're about 10 blocks west of here, kind of on the west end of Maine. We have a 3,000 square foot production studio, and that's where this cyc wall is where that video took place. And this is you know, a great place where it can be a winter asset for us for the 9 months of winter where it's, you know, extremely cold to film outside. And we are fortunate for this, and even have been able to host some people that do come from out of state and give them a place to film at and work out of while they're here. So the experience, the equipment, and the knowledge we've invested heavily just in buying the right equipment, but also understanding how to use it and knowing when the equipment is there for the right reasons. And I'm going to keep it short because we got a lot of stuff to get through for Nick as well. So there's some of my information. You guys can follow us. If you guys have questions that don't get answered Q&A, you can talk to me after, or Joel. He's going to throw his hand up there. Would be happy to answer any of the questions. So I'll turn it back over to Kate.
All right, give it up for Pete.
Thanks.
Okay, we're going to go right into our next presenter, Nick Ibarra. He's probably the strongest looking person in this room right now. His almost ripped his shirt just waving to people. So Nick's going to talk about his work with the Mattahey Trail just west of here. We wanted to showcase Bismarck business, but also for those of you who are out of the community, you know, what's happening in central and western North Dakota and that connection to the land. So please help me welcome Nick Ibarra.
I'm Nick Ibarra, race director, fund maker, experience creator. I established Land in 2012, an organization that creates legendary adventures for people to experience new discoveries, specifically on the Mattahey Trail in the North Dakota Badlands. My personal experiences on the trail have been life-changing, but the trail was disappearing due to neglect, lack of trail maintenance, and understaffed U.S. Forest Service trail crews. So I founded Save the Mattahey, a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving the physical condition of the trail for all trail users, whether they be horseback riders, hikers, or mountain bikers. In 2012, the trail was on the verge of extinction. The vegetation had grown as high as the handlebars on my mountain bike. I know the trail well, and in many places, I was unable to find it. We have organized, coordinated, participated, and self-funded over 3,000 volunteer man-hours in trail maintenance. Without that kind of commitment and dedication, the trail would be gone. Save the Monahee from what? Extinction. The name Monahee means something that has been and will be around for a long time. This trail is North Dakota's iconic 150-mile adventure destination. The volunteers that mowed, trimmed, and hand shoveled this trail saved it. One of the best ways to help save the Monahee is to experience it. Come out and use it. Bring the family for a camping trip and a hike down the trail. See if you have what it takes to complete one of the hardest endurance races in the world. Volunteer. Come out and help us with the hands-on work. It will change your perspective as a trail user. Simply donate. Please help fund the organization that is saving the Monahee. I'm Nick Ybarra. I'm never giving up on this trail. Are you with me?
Give it up for Nick.
Thank you, Kate.
Some clickers up.
Man, I've watched that video hundreds of times, and it still chokes me up. And that's threefold right there. That was threefold produced and actually donated video. So we always get two questions when people are asking, what is Save the MDH? And the first one is usually, what is the MDH? And people that haven't had the opportunity to watch that 3 minutes of awesomeness have no idea. So I tell them the truth. The MDH is the greatest trail in the world. It is 150 miles of badlands, raw, rugged, real single-track trail. And it's not just single-track trail. It is secluded, seductive, spectacular trail. It's arguably the best trail in the world. It is unarguably our country's longest national recreation, non-motorized, non-stop, continuous single-track trail that twists and snakes and slithers its way through the middle of everywhere, Badlands, North Dakota. It's amazing. Keenan, which button do I hit? That one, yeah. That is the MDH, the greatest trail in the world. What are we saving it from? We're saving it from erosion, overgrowth, and extinction. Now, come on, really? Extinction? That sounds a little fanatical. Just barely under a decade ago, this is my handlebars on a mountain bike ride, attempted mountain bike ride on the Monahee Trail. Miles upon miles of the trail looked exactly like this. A sea of vegetation waist to chest high, where you could not even see the trail. Many more miles were unusable. Where like this, you can't even find the Monahee. Other sections were unusable, where trail users were forced to shoulder mountain bikes and just bushwhack through the trail. Many, many sections of the trail were findable and usable, but for the most part, unenjoyable. And so, the reason that the trail became this way was because the Forest Service lost, through budget cuts, funding and staffing for trail maintenance. There was an organization that was founded when the Monahee opened, called the Monahee Trail Association,
They founded with the mission to promote and help maintain the Maatahe Trail. But you look at the condition of the trail here, and I do not blame them for not being up to the task to tackle this level of magnitude of trail maintenance. And so out of pure necessity, the Save the MDH was born. And we were just a small group of passionate trail users who wanted to save the Maatahe Trail. So we started borrowing brush mowers, friends from local communities with club mowers for maintaining other mountain biking trails. And then this mower that you see here, Big Bertha, this was a Forest Service mower that they lent us. And this thing was about as broken down and run down and tired as the guy pushing it behind it. You can see where there's a portable booster pack for jump-starting vehicles strapped to the deck of that mower. That's because this thing would not self-charge its battery when you went out to mow. So I could go out, you mow one side of the trail at a time, park the truck, take off. I could go about 4 or 5 miles before the battery would die, and then the electronic clutch on that blade would stop engaging and it would stop mowing. I'd hook up the booster cables to that battery and turn around and just pray to God that that thing would make it back to the truck before it ran out of battery again. And that is how the Save the MDH was born. We have multiple volunteers that come out and help, guys that rip shirts way more than I do. Phil Helfrich is the president of the Save the Maatahe, the guy with the big guns there. And there are so many sections of the trail that will actually never need to be mowed. The Badlands are such a unique and beautiful combination of desert terrain and prairie. And the south-facing slopes are sun-scorched and vegetation never grows on them, but those sections still need dirt work. And so through our unique partnership agreement with the U.S. Forest Service, we're allowed to mow, string trim, shovel, and prune the trail. And so in these dirt sections, the Badlands soil is soft and erosive and really great for mountain biking, but also easily damaged. And so when the water starts to run and trench and erode that trail, it gets dangerous and it needs to be repaired every year. That slide said, we have coordinated and organized over 7,000 volunteer man-hours now. We have self-raised and funded over $100,000 paying for expenses, actual expenses, for maintaining the trail over the past 7 years. And if you include in-kind services, like they average about $24 for a volunteer hour, I mean, right there, that's $168,000 in in-kind service. We do this every year because we've seen firsthand what happens when the maintenance is not being done. No maintenance equals no trail. Why put that kind of effort into just a trail? Some people would say if the trail needs that much attention, that much effort just to have it exist, then what's the point? The volunteers that come out and put hands on shovels and mowers and string trimmers are a lot like me in the way that we're not just saving the Maatahe Trail. The Maatahe Trail in many ways is saving us. Just like a trail through the Badlands, life has its ups and downs, its twists, its turns, its surprises. There are many times that what got me through my low points in my life was the Maatahe Trail. Time in the Badlands, alone. Pushing a mower is really good therapy. And when the trail started to disappear, so did I. The Maatahe Trail we don't just save the Maatahe Trail. There are people that the Maatahe Trail actually saves. We don't just do trail maintenance. Sometimes we get to ride it. And this was the 5th happiest day of my life. Sometimes I get that wrong and I have to be really careful. This was the 5th happiest day of my life. When 50 miles were added onto the original 100 of the Mattahay Trail, south of Medora, the trail manager for the first Forest Service asked me, well, you've ridden the whole 100 in a day, are you gonna attempt the 150? And I told him, point right away, no question about it, no, that's impossible. And then what happened was, pushing a 450-pound brush mower through the Badlands is really good training. And I became stronger and tougher, and eventually said, hey, you know what, I think I am gonna tackle that challenge. And I became the first person in the world to travel the entire 150 miles of the Mattahay Trail in under 24 hours. And this is my family. This was my family meeting me at the finish line. And that was an incredible experience. And so we love sharing the healing magic of the Mattahay with other people. And we don't just coordinate trail work, we actually coordinate events, free events like this Take a Kid Mountain Biking Day, where we actually introduce some kids for the first time ever to mountain biking and to the Mattahay Trail, to the Badlands. The work that we've done has made it possible for the Badlands Race Series to host 8 annual events. And this is the starting line of one of those events, the Mattahay 100 mountain bike race. Only half of those hardcore endurance athletes actually made it to the finish line of the Mattahay 100. The trail is that amazing, and it's no joke when I say that it is arguably the best trail in the world. Mattahay actually means something that has been and will be around for a long time in the Native American Hidatsa language. We want the trail to live up to its name. We are the only organization that's partnering with the Forest Service to mow and trim and shovel and prune the trail into findable, usable, and enjoyable condition. We are saving the Mattahay Trail. Are you with us? And do you have any questions?
We're going to bring Keenan back up, and this is what we do at 1 Million Cups. And if you're at your 1 Million Cups in your community, or you go to one, or you're watching the live stream, we do a kind of a robust Q&A. So if you have a question, throw your hand up. We have 2 mic runners, Tyler here and Nate. And you can ask your question, whether it's about their business or the Mattahay or anything like that. If you don't want to ask your question on the mic, use the hashtag 1MCND, and we'll have someone ask it for you. So we got some questions up here from students.
What was the hardest part about starting Threefold?
Your business.
Yeah, right. I'd say the hardest part was just the early days of getting started, and at the time we were self-taught in a lot of the work that we did. So I did say quick, my brother Caleb had a graphic design degree, but at the time we were going to school, there wasn't a lot of options for editing or learning that software. So we were self-taught in a lot of what we did, and then even the equipment that we had. Even the equipment that we had was not as good as we wanted it to be. So was just getting over that barrier and starting to work with what we had, and that was a good start for us. So.
When did you start the Mattahay Trail project?
We started, the first year that we volunteered to help mow the trail was 2013, 7 years ago. And we've done it every year since.
Got a question over here. We'll do this one first, over here.
Sure, I just wanted to ask, and first off, thank you so much for sharing your guys' story. For all the students especially out here who may not want or try to have an interest in starting their own business, but want to have the lowest, cost of a failure. Because failure is something that we can learn from, and it's like inevitable a lot of times. How would you guys get to where you are? I know, Keen, you said that you went to college. I'm not sure about you, Nick, but how would you get to where you are without college? and any advice to reduce startup costs and also maximize learning.
How'd you get to where you are, reducing startup costs in your business?
So we were fortunate. We didn't. It was kind of a slow investment over time, and didn't take out any loans to do what we were doing. And in video and in a lot of the software type stuff, there's a lot of stuff out there where you can learn how to do those things, and kind of using a good way to look at it is using those limitations to kind of push your creativity. There's a kind of famous filmmaker for a long time, and a lot of his videos did well because of the stop motion that he would do. And it was a few years later that he goes, I didn't know how to make titles in iMovie, and I was too afraid to ask anybody, so I just did everything in stop motion. I would put letters, I would make letters in butter and then melt it and then play it in reverse, and that was his movie title or other things. So if you can think of ways to use the limitations to your kind of advantage and to your creativity, that's all the more for you, because there's plenty of things just on your phone that you can do. You can film, you can edit, and it's a good jumping off point to see if you're actually interested in something or dive a little bit deeper.
Were you a good student in school,
No.
Keenan? No, he said no.
Mediocre.
Terrible student. Okay. And look, he's made it. But you tried hard, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Nick?
Yeah. Life lessons are expensive, so learn them well. I went to 4 or 5 years of college, came out, went into a career that I loved, but found I was unable to do because I was not a good student either, and thought that it would get better, but found out that in my job, I could not sit at a desk, I could not focus, I could not do simple tasks. I had found that I needed to be outside pushing mowers and doing something physical. And so I ended up being, thousands of dollars in student debt, and had to work on a drilling rig for 3 years to pay that off. So to start up, you want to do it, I think, with as little debt as possible. Debt's crushing. And once, so you ask yourself, one of the best talks I ever heard is, what do you have in your hands? What do you have that you can use now to start? And we started, as cheaply as possible with our organization, and that, I think, has been a huge key to success.
So find an ambulance that you can purchase and turn into something, right? Sourcing.
Yeah.
Question over here.
How did you find out about each other's causes? And Keenan, why did it strike a chord with you enough to make a video for it?
So your relationship, your collaboration.
Yeah, we knew each other growing up. We both grew up in Bismarck here, so we were buddies. And why did you produce that video for a donation?
For a few years.
Yeah, for a few years.
The Mata Heat was something that we were super passionate about, and we saw it as something that we were happy to support, and seeing somebody take care of it to the level that Nick was taking care of it and investing in it. And those things, events like that, where it's located is really hard to promote without decent materials. And so we were happy to see it being revived, and really wanted to be a catalyst in some way, and kind of just said, we'll figure it out at some point. And so it was just crazy going out there, and we talked to a lot of the racers, and people that come from California and all over the U.S. just to ride this, and then they're there to bike the 100 miles, and we see them at the finish line, and they made it 50 miles and got their butt kicked. They're like, I can't believe I drove all the way from California to be this out of shape, and they made it 50 miles, and so it's a ruthless trail, and it was just really exciting to be a part of that and help highlight it. So.
And maybe, Nick, you can mow his lawn now in return for the help.
I think he does probably enough
okay,
mowing.
all right, fine. You've got the equipment.
Yeah.
Question over here.
How old do you have to be to volunteer at the Matahe?
We do not discriminate age, gender, race. We will take help from anyone. My daughters have done trail work when they were 5, 6 years old. So we do not have, I guess, actually an age limit. It works really good. We've had fathers and sons come out together, which has been really fun to do that way. But yeah, we don't have an age limit.
Nick, I think you got to volunteer. You ready? Get that kid a
Yeah.
shovel. Okay. Next question.
Phone number, available dates.
What would you say is the probably like best part of the Matahe Trail?
The question was, what would you say is the best part of the Matahe Trail?
Yeah, hands down, my favorite place on the Matahe Trail is Devil's Pass. And when I was 18 years old, I just graduated high school, I came around a corner on my $150 Schwinn mountain bike, and I saw Devil's Pass for the first time, and it ruined me. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen, and from that point on, I've been trying to figure out how I can get there as often as possible. So if you ever are looking for one place to visit on the trail, find Devil's Pass.
All right. Question here.
This is for Nick. What was the hardest part of the 150-mile trail?
One more time.
What was the hardest part of the 150-mile trail?
The ride, the bike ride? Yeah, the hardest.
All 150 miles?
Yeah, it didn't get hard until about mile 50. And then it's, I really trained hard and prepared for it, but it is more mental than it is physical. And I think every person in this room, David Goggins would say, the author of Can't Hurt Me, that we really only get to about 40% of our potential. And when you look at guys like David Goggins, who's a Navy SEAL, who has pushed through physical limits, far beyond what any of us have or probably ever will do, when you can learn to callous your mind mentally and push through those physical barriers and mental barriers, that was the hardest challenge, was, keep going that way. But when you do it, he calls it putting a cookie in your cookie jar. And when you've got that, you realize you did what was once impossible. Now what can you do?
Keenan, have you done the trail?
No, I just film it, so
Okay.
that's enough work so of itself. Joel has on our team. He did the
Okay.
50,
And you're sure he
75.
didn't cheat? You didn't cheat. You just did the whole thing? Solid? All right. Okay, Joel. Greta, what's up?
Hi.
Got a
Hi.
question?
Yeah, my question, I guess, is for both of you. And maybe, yeah. So my question is just about general storytelling. And maybe we have maybe a couple of government employees, but just in general, as you are telling your story, how do you, and maybe it's not for someone that's potentially hiring you, but how important is it, and just can you speak on it a little bit, to actively tell your story? And I see that you had some photos in there as well. You're mowing and you step back and just take a picture. How do you proactively seek out those stories to tell in your daily adventures? And what advice can you give to someone that maybe can't hire threefold, or you're not maybe willing to donate your services? But if we have government agencies, yeah, can you speak on that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I'll say for Nick, his social presence has gotten much bigger over the years, and even when we first started working kind of on projects together, it was good to see just the feedback, and he would send out newsletters, and this is I don't know if I've told you this, but we talked to one guy on the trail, and he sent out a lot of newsletters, keeping people up to date and posting on Facebook, and he kept saying, like, he was kind of confused. He's like, man, the organization sending these emails, they're worded like it's like it's one guy talking, like it's just I was out mowing, and he's like, and then I got here and I realized it was one guy taking care of the trail. And he's like, it wasn't this whole big organization that was doing all of this, but it was it was just a single person, and so it's all of those incremental updates along the way that help tell the story. It's not waiting until race day to try and cram it all in.
and you probably have more to add.
Yeah, so I think our culture right now loves the hero stories, right? Like the Avengers or, like any hero movie. We love it, the idea that one guy can save the whole world. And it's not true. There's, even whether the hero admits it or not, there is a team of people behind that hero. And it has never been just one guy.
That was a few years ago.
Yeah, but there's always been help, and I think if you are not fortunate enough to have someone like Threefold come along and help tell your story, there is so much you can do with just a cell phone video, and Richard Branson says, get rid of the slides, get rid of, if you're trying to find funding for something, passion. And when you are passionate about what you are doing, that is like a magnet and people will follow that passion. So that is the most important key part of telling your story, is whatever you use, pictures, video, whatever, it's got to have passion.
We've just got a couple minutes left before we ask our same last question. I've got one over here.
So I'm curious to what extent you're using drones in your business. If you have somebody on staff that would be actually considered an aerial cinematographer, if you anyone has a drone license, and if you have any thoughts to share with the students in the room about how to go about becoming certified to fly drones for your business, your type of business.
Yeah. So we actually have 2 guys on our team that are Part 107 certified drone pilots. Caleb and Adam on our team are both drone pilots. They have 700 hours flown together and more flown, solo operations. So the drone that we use is a 2-man operation. Adam is generally the pilot controlling the drone, and Caleb is doing the cinematography and actually taking the video and just controlling the camera. So that 700 hours is just those 2 guys flying together. So they take it very seriously. We have a lot of our certifications to do that, and the test is hard but not impossible, and there's lots of resources and YouTube videos out there to kind of go through that training to get you certified to do it commercially. And after you get that, your ability to get waivers to fly in certain areas. Obviously there's I don't know, I'll be wrong in this. There's 10 different classifications of different where you can fly and
It's okay,
how
Keenan.
high.
There's no government people here that are
Yeah.
gonna pinch you.
I don't do the drone flying, so.
If you're regulating it, you have to tell us and put your hand up, okay? No? All right.
We got one.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so it's not impossible, and it's a pretty affordable test too. So yeah, if it's something you're interested in, I would definitely pursue it and look into the test and learn a little bit more about it.
We'll take our last audience question, and then we're going to do our final question. And then if you do have questions, you can hang out with these guys afterwards. Ma'am.
I've got a quick question, Nick. First one for you. I know you mentioned you do about 8 different events throughout the year. Do you allow runners on the trail? I got to give you a plug for that.
Right.
And then my second question for both of you. We've heard a lot about mentors in your life. So who would you guys say, how did you find a mentor? Since these are both fairly new businesses that you guys started on your own, and how did that make a difference in where you are today with your businesses?
Right. Yeah, so we had trail runners starting to ask if they could run the Mattahay 100 mountain bike race. And what we ended up doing was we said, well, we're already preparing the entire trail for the mountain bikers. Why don't we have a trail run? And so the Mattahay 100 mountain bike race has been going for 8 years now, and grew from 60 riders the first year now to 500 riders in one day. And then we launched the trail run just a few years ago, and the trail run has actually outgrown the mountain bike race. So now we have more trail runners doing the Mattahay trail run than we do mountain bikers. And it's not just the 100-mile option. So you can do 100 miles, you can do 75, 50, 25, 13, we do a 10K and a 5K. So we have all that going on one day. The trail run is annually the last Saturday of July, and the mountain bike race is annually the first Saturday of August.
Who,
Oh, and then
mentors, yeah, Keenan, why don't you take that?
So we were when we were fortunate when we were first starting. We had our father does some banking and saw a lot of businesses come and go, and so and especially family businesses where there's kind of brothers or just a lot of family involved. And him being in banking, he saw a lot of businesses start and some a lot that didn't make it and some that did. And so we were fortunate to have him as an asset and a resource to us, and gave us a lot of good advice. And some of it wasn't always the advice we wanted, but it was the right advice. And so we were at the time trying to start something that wasn't really similar to anything else kind of in the region, and so it was kind of hard to pinpoint an exact, hey, you've done what we've done, but there's definitely been a lot of people that we've had conversations with and learned a lot from along the way, and then a couple folks that have been there kind of through it all. So.
Well, thank you guys so much. What we do is we ask the same last question at 1 Million Cups every week. I'm going to challenge you guys to just use one word to answer the question. Want to remind you that you can fill out an evaluation. There's some on the tables. They'll be collecting them, I think, towards the back. So please do that if you have a few minutes. We always ask the same last question at 1 Million Cups, which is, what can we as the Bismarck Mandan 1 Million Cups community help you to, what can we do to help you succeed? In one word, I'll give you up to 3 words of a phrase, Nick. I know you're thinking about it, but one word, what can we do as a community to help you succeed?
July 10th. That's 2 words. I got 3, right?
Yeah, I'll give you 3.
Okay.
I'll give you 3.
July 10th, trail work. We'll pretend trail work's 1 word.
Okay. Is that hyphenated? We don't know. Okay. Keenan, what can we do to help? Briefly.
Oh man, 1 word. Share. Yep. Share local work and support local businesses.
Okay, well, give it up for these guys. Did an awesome job. We are at Dakota Stage in downtown Bismarck every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Join us next week. Find the 1 Million Cups in your community. If you're interested in starting a 1 Million Cups, go to 1millioncups.com. Enjoy the rest of the summit, everybody.